Hello everyone, welcome to our channel, Comentarios y Respuestas TJ. I hope all of you are doing well. In this new week, we are going to prepare for the comments of the section Digging for Spiritual Gems. We're in the week of October 27th to November 2nd, and we'll be analyzing the book of Ecclesiastes chapters 11 and 12. Let's begin. The first question is: what do these verses teach us about the men whom God used to write the Bible? Before answering the question, let's read the Bible text. Ecclesiastes 12:9-10 says, "The congregator, besides being wise, constantly taught the people what he knew. He carefully pondered and thoroughly investigated to collect many proverbs. The congregator sought to find delightful words and to record accurately the words of truth." Very well, so the answer to the question is: in Ecclesiastes 12:9-10 we see that the men Jehovah used to write the Bible were not like robots. They thought, researched, and organized their ideas carefully, but always under the direction of the Holy Spirit. This shows that Jehovah respected their way of expressing themselves, yet still ensured that everything they wrote was true and useful for us. Additional comments. These verses help me see that writing the Bible required effort. The writers didn't just copy without thinking, they meditated and looked for the best way to convey the truth. That teaches me that when we study or prepare something for Jehovah, we should also do it carefully and with dedication, not in a rushed way. I also learn that Jehovah is an excellent teacher. He could have made his word written in just one style, but he chose to use people with different personalities and ways of writing. That makes the Bible richer, more relatable, and easier for everyone to understand, while still being completely inspired by God. Let's move on to the next question. What spiritual gems have you found about Jehovah, the ministry, and other topics in this week's Bible reading? Ecclesiastes 11:2 says, "Share what you have with 7, or even with 8, for you do not know what disaster may occur on the earth." Very well, so the comment is: this verse teaches me to be generous and not to keep everything for myself. Sometimes we think it's better to hold on to what we have, just in case, but Jehovah wants us to learn to share. If we help others now, maybe later we'll also receive help when we need it. Being generous also shows that we trust Jehovah to provide what we need, not only material things, but also time, affection, and spiritual support. Let's move on to the next comment. Ecclesiastes 11:4 says, "The one who watches the wind will not sow, and the one who looks at the clouds will not reap." Very well, so the comment is: here I learn that if I wait for the perfect moment to act, I'll never do anything. It's like a farmer saying, "I won't sow today because it's windy," or "I'll wait until tomorrow because it might rain." In the end, he never harvests anything. Sometimes we think it's not the right time to preach, get baptized, or make a spiritual change, but that perfect moment never comes. It's better to act now and trust that Jehovah will bless our efforts, even if conditions aren't perfect. Let's move on to the next comment. Ecclesiastes 11:6 says, "Sow your seed in the morning, and do not let your hands rest until the evening, for you do not know which will have success, this one or that one, or whether both will do equally well." Very well, so the comment is, this verse encourages me to stay constant in Jehovah's service. Sometimes it seems like there are no results or that the preaching work isn't bearing fruit, but if we keep sowing with perseverance, Jehovah will make sure that in due time there's a harvest. The same applies to other areas, teaching our children, setting a good example, or encouraging others. If we remain active spiritually, we'll have the satisfaction of knowing we did our best. Let's move on to the next comment. Ecclesiastes 11:9 says, "Young man, rejoice in your youth, and let your heart be glad in the days of your youth. Follow the ways of your heart and whatever your eyes see, but know that the true God will call you to account for all of this." Very well, so the comment is, this verse reminds me that Jehovah wants us to enjoy life, especially while we are young. He doesn't want us to live sadly or without fun, but with balance. We can enjoy ourselves, but we shouldn't forget that our choices have consequences. When I think about how Jehovah views my actions, that helps me choose healthy activities that leave me with a good conscience. That way, I can truly enjoy life without regrets. Let's move on to the next comment. Ecclesiastes 12:1 says, "Remember your grand Creator in the days of your youth before the days of distress come, and the years arrive when you will say, I have no pleasure in them." Very well, so the comment is, I really like this verse because it reminds me not to wait until I'm older to serve Jehovah. When you're young, you have more energy and time to use for things that truly matter. If you learn to put Jehovah first early in life, it protects you from making mistakes and helps you build a happy life. Serving Jehovah from a young age is a decision that always brings blessings. Let's move on to the next comment. Ecclesiastes 12:3 says, "When the guardians of the house tremble, the strong men stoop, the women who grind stop because they are few, and those looking through the windows see darkness." Very well, so the comment is, this verse sums up what's most important in life. The world often makes us think that money, success, or material things are what matter most, but none of that brings true happiness. What really matters is having a good relationship with Jehovah, respecting Him, and obeying Him. When we live according to His commandments, we gain peace, purpose, and the satisfaction of knowing that we're doing what He expects of us. Let's move on to the next comment. Ecclesiastes 12:14 says, "For the true God will judge every deed, including every hidden thing, as to whether it is good or bad." Very well, so the comment is, this verse reminds me that Jehovah sees everything, even the small things no one else notices. And that's not something to fear, it's comforting, because He sees our sincere efforts even when others don't. When I do something good in secret, like helping someone or staying faithful, I know Jehovah values it and takes it into account. It also helps me think before acting, because I know that everything I do has value in His eyes. Well, that was the analysis of the comments and answers for this week's Digging for Spiritual Gems. I hope it's very helpful to all my dear brothers and sisters. I send you a big hug, and may Jehovah bless and protect you always.